Hello, this is Miss LaRocca coming to you this week to talk about character design. The following examples are what we call reference sheets, which are images with various angles of a character to illustrate the colors, patterns, markings, etc. of a specific character. These are used to help an artist remain consistent when illustrating a character for future use, or, in my case, they're used to illustrate how I will create or design a costume or mask. In this demonstration, I'll be working in Adobe Photoshop CS5. I'm using a line art, which is something an artist has drawn for another artist to color in with their own designs. The goal for this project is to design a character that complements a fellow artist's character by the name of Amanda Kett. Her character design you'll get to see later. Our concept was color schemes. She provided the line art and her version of the character, CMYK, and I played with my options by making several color palettes. I'm also keeping in mind that because this is to be made into a costume, I don't want to make it too complex or in colors I know are hard to find in fur, which is the material that I'll be using to make this costume. Notice how I started out with RGB, which is the complementary set of colors to CMYK, both of which are really important in graphic design. I wasn't a huge fan of RGB straight up, so I tried to lighten up the colors a little bit to make them more pastel, but I still kind of felt on the edge about it. I went to go for secondary colors, purple, orange, and green, but again, I wasn't totally sold on it. I end up deciding on monochromatic of black, gray, and white. I only want to limit myself to the 3 colors so the design doesn't get too overwhelming or difficult to create or redraw later on. I also build a story while I'm working on designs. I often ask myself, how will this be perceived by others? Is the design readable from a distance? Or in this case, how will this character look like in real life when it's standing next to its complementary character, CMYK? Knowing that it has a matching character is an extra struggle that I don't usually have, but I know that CMYK is bright and flashy with painterly markings. As I'm designing this, you'll notice a lot of erasing and redoing of certain markings as I think about where designs will go to make this unique, while mentally referencing actual dogs I've seen to inspire me. When I have the initial idea down, I begin to flesh out the design from the front. As I design him, it starts to remind me of classic cartoons, such as Steamboat Willie and other old-fashioned Disney black and white films. Notice that as I work, I jump over to Google Images to get references that I may not already have immediately available. Having this to look at gives me inspiration right away that I may not have found previously. I play with all the different ideas that are consistent in those characters, from the button-up pants to the shoes, and I eventually settle on the trademark white gloves. However, I use these gloves as markings instead of an actual separate prop. Character design can have so many sources of inspiration. I collect pictures, books, and magazines of cartoons, film, even fashion to help me inspire my artwork later on. When I'm out hiking, I take photographs of interesting flowers and birds and later translate those color schemes or unique patterns into a design of a coyote or deer. By the time the mask is finished, the source is almost obsolete, but the resulting design is cohesive and appealing. I try to keep character design simple but varied. I also keep in mind to avoid copyright or designs that already exist. You can get inspiration from other characters, but directly copying Mickey Mouse's design onto my design and calling it original is just another kind of copying. Use many sources or sources that cannot be specifically copyrighted to inspire you. Finally, here's the finished character, Mono. My monochromatic color scheme is simple, but immediately reminds the viewer of classic cartoons and he feels nostalgic and comfortable, or lovable. Now, here he is next to his complementary character, CMYK. Notice how heavily the two contrast. Mono has worried eyebrow markings which reflect on his grayscale design as being solemn or sad. CMYK, on the other hand, has flashy colors, wide eyes, and tiny pupils. He looks energetic and wild. The two characters are opposites, so standing next to each other, they'll immediately be read as a pair. That about wraps up my design discussion. There are no right or wrong ways to design a character, so don't be daunted by this task. Get out there and create a world of art.